statement by Dr. Denis Mukwege, following the advance of aggression and occupation forces in South Kivu province. 13 December 2025. We express our astonishment upon reading the statement issued by the chairperson of the African Union Commission on December 11th, calling for restraint in the face of escalating tensions in the Great Lakes region, without expressly naming the Kigali regime as a major actor in the destabilization that lies at the origin of the heightened risks of a regional conflagration. This statement comes on the heels of the signing of the Washington Agreement on December 4th between the Congolese and Rwandan heads of state, at a moment when the timid hopes for a way out of the crisis are fading in the face of intensified fighting and the multiplication of mass crimes in the Ruzizi Plain, leading to an alarming deterioration of the security and humanitarian situation in South Kivu province, and resulting in the invasion of new territories and the capture of the strategic city of Uvira by the M23/RDF coalition. While United Nations Security Council Resolution 2773, adopted unanimously on February 21, 2025, has called for an immediate ceasefire and the unconditional withdrawal of the Rwandan army from Congolese territory, a new report by the United Nations Group of Experts on the Situation in the Democratic Republic of the Congo, DRC, released in early December, attests with supporting evidence to the presence of 6,000 to 7,000 Rwandan soldiers in the Nera DRC. Furthermore, on December 9th, the International Contact Group for the Great Lakes region explicitly urged the M23 and Rwanda to end their offensive operations in eastern DRC and to withdraw, in accordance with Security Council Resolution 2773 and the Doha Declaration of Principles signed on July 19, 2025. In addition, the United States Ambassador to the United Nations was very clear in his remarks during the emergency session of the Security Council this Friday, December 12th. The Rwandan president controls and directs both the M23 and its political arm, the Congo River Alliance, AFC, in order to achieve his geopolitical objectives in eastern Congo. To put an end to this criminal enterprise of destabilization, it is now necessary to translate these hollow condemnations into concrete and meaningful actions capable of leading out of the crisis. Africans committed to justice and peace must no longer accept that the African Union continues to fail to designate Rwanda as an aggressor state in violation of the African Union Charter and as the principal destabilizing force in the African Great Lakes region. The world can no longer continue to turn a blind eye and remain silent in the face of the Kigali regime's systemic defiance of the fundamental principles of international law and human rights. The African Union and African heads of state can no longer tolerate Africans being massacred by other Africans to satisfy global economic interests without responding. Let us not fall back into the abomination of the slave trade. We have already paid a heavy price for slavery and colonization. It is time for African leaders to set an example rather than protect those who abuse their power with arrogance, commit the gravest crimes with total impunity, hold their people hostage in a climate of fear, and threaten regional and international peace and security without facing the condemnation of their peers. We urge the United Nations, the African Union, the European Union, and all states committed to upholding the international rule of law to adopt, without further delay, strong and coordinated sanctions against the Kigali regime in order to accelerate de-escalation. This sanctions mechanism must be accompanied by measures suspending international aid and by a timetable to ensure the effective and immediate implementation of the provisions of Security Council Resolution 2773. This is the only language understood by dictators who, failing to be brought to account before national or international justice, will be judged by the tribunal of history. Finally, we reiterate our call for the organization of an international conference aimed at a lasting and just resolution to the crisis and the recurring wars in the Kivu and the Great Lakes region by revitalizing the Addis Ababa Framework Agreement, which remains the only peace agreement incorporating a regional dimension and seeking to address the root causes of conflicts in Eastern DRC. UN Human Rights Council, US Department of State, European Parliament.